doesn't break. So I want to elaborate. I want him to explain.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, but Kate Wilbo has been dead for a long while. Yeah, she's not showing up.
Oh, she has really?
I don't know. I wasn't in Ottawa this weekend, so I couldn't show up. But
I didn't even come on Clubhouse. It's my first day.
Yeah, I mean,
been on here for more than 20 minutes. No, where Kate just gets like that whole where it's just like she doesn't hear other people talking. She just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a problem. Like,
yeah, Kate Wilbo has a sweet ass. She actually does, but she's drinking her life away, basically.
Oh, that's her liberation. So, what do you do?
Are you talking about that female from Toronto, Big Law?
No, fuck no. Oh my god, bro. I always kick her. I always kick her. It's just, I just can't. It's like she's always on drugs. It's wild.
Man, but I love niggers. I'll say all about it. I do love niggers.
That's right.
Did you see this shit that Candace released?
which one?
Leave group chat.
You mean Candace on?
Jewish donor.
Can you hear it?
About what? Lolo? Can you tell us?
No. Yeah, I'll play it. Hold on. My voice is like, hold on, Megan. Hold on.
Leave group chat. Just lost another huge Jewish donor. Who donated because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace to Facebook.
You hear it?
Will not be bullied like this. What's what you read from Israel books.
Basically, there's a group text that he's allegedly. This is 48 hours before he was killed. Let's see. Charlie texts, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker Carlson. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Someone responded, ugh. And then Charlie said, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
Who?
Damn.
That's allegedly, that's what Charlie Kirk was texting in a group chat to, like, his people, or whatever. They're not saying exactly who. That's part of, I guess, Rob McCoy and Josh Hammer and 6 others. I don't know who either of those people are.
So they have
6 others were also in the chat.
What was he saying?
So the part that they're showing is it's Charlie saying, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker Carlson. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. I don't really understand that context there. Someone replied, ugh. And then Charlie responded, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this. It's leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Which is like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a weird thing to say, actually. But...
Well,
I don't know what he means by bullied. So that's the interesting thing.
Intimidated, probably.
If you don't want to do this and that. Blackmail. Things like that. They don't have blackmail on him because he's young. So Epstein didn't get blackmail on him. They don't have anyone who has blackmail. Young people aren't really on the radar as much as the older folk. Like Joe Biden, there's a lot of dirt on him. Trump, there's a lot of dirt on him, etc., etc., etc. A young guy, hey, the Mossad will struggle a little bit to find, especially someone like Kirk, who's actually conservative and all that stuff. You're going to have a hard time saying he has child porn, you know? So the Mossad definitely, like Israel definitely struggles when it comes to, you know, so they pay him or whatever, but then anyways, he has the ability to rebel against them, I feel, and that's what, he was a war, accepting their money, but then he decided to flip and they killed him. It's beautiful.
Well, It doesn't seem like it's not necessarily he decided to flip. He refused to comply.
Correct.
Basically, they wanted him to, I
No,
guess,
he was
announce
complying.
Tucker Carlson, and he said,
Bro, he
no.
was complying. He was complying,
Yeah.
and he was taking their money, and he was. Yeah,
He was trying to get the shekels before the shekel got him.
I
It'd be
think
interesting to look at their tax filings and shit to see like what were they. You know, I know he was like trying to do a legit cause, but what were they doing with all that money? Because I mean, they had a lot of money to throw around.
yeah,
It's 500 million. I don't like. I'm just curious. Like, what does that actually get spent on?
I don't know. They just give you money to do whatever they want.
I mean, he created an amazing
And you will
movement.
accept the money.
So it worked.
You will accept the money because it's money, and you will accept it. But if you and they make you look good and whatever because they control all other things. Now, if you go against them, they hope you never go against them because they're giving you the money. But if you go against them, they have blackmail. It just so happens that this guy is no longer accepting their money, but they have nothing against him. So then they have to kill him. It just goes without. This is pretty. It just makes perfect sense. I don't see. Anyways, to my mind, it was obviously the Jews who killed Kirk since the beginning.
I'm
They
still not,
killed
I'm
Jesus,
still not
what makes you think
convinced.
they won't kill his followers?
Yeah, I don't think Kirk was. He's a Protestant, but still, they have every reason to. Trump is so stupid, bro. He's being played like crazy by Netanyahu. I respect Netanyahu, bro. I actually respect Netanyahu. Either Trump is so stupid and he's being played, or the guy is really cucked, like hardcore blackmail.
Oh, he's definitely blackmailed, dude.
So we need something.
Look at him as first term versus this term. It's pathetic.
You know what? I'm looking forward to JD Vance because that guy is also young. So likely they don't have blackmail on him. Hey, let's see. I don't know.
I mean, then why did they try to take out Trump? He's the
about your
next
boy
guy in
Vivek?
line.
Oh, bro, someone needs to deal with all the Yiddish kinds.
What about Vivek?
Deal with them. Oh, Trump, what's that?
I don't know. I think whoever took out Kirk also tried to take out Trump.
It's probably the same group. Yeah. I mean, if you're dumb enough to believe that it's the Iranis are trying to get the fuck out of here, bro.
I hope they don't do nothing to Sam Shimon. Sam Shimon.
No, we know.
is-
It is the Jews are all over it. And it's always all the pointers are towards Israel, bro. It's just very clear. Shit. Only those who don't want to see it are. You know,
Look, I'm leaning in a different direction, but it's sort of kind of like you could say is also inherently Israel. Like I'm still leaning towards like a rogue faction of like the CIA or something, which you could just argue is controlled by Israel. So
I just don't know why you don't want to go there. I don't know why you don't want to go.
I do. I'm not like there's such a mystery and there's so many odd things with this that
Yeah, the old one.
I don't see it. It's a possibility, sure, but it's not all that clear to me because it's.
That there's George Zen, who's
I don't put that much weight into the guy as much as you do.
Zen is a very important guy. So there's George Zen.
Why do you need a decoy for the decoy, dude?
Well, what if I don't believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk.
Right. So why do you need Zen?
Because you don't want people to pay attention to the actual shooter.
But that's why you have Tyler, whatever the fuck his name is.
No,
He's not the actual shooter. I don't think he's the shooter either.
That's just the guy we're gonna blame. That doesn't mean anything.
Right. So it's like, if anything, you don't want to like really deviate away from the patsy in this case. Or
No, I'm telling you that there's another shooter that we don't want you to focus on. So we need.
right.
I don't think Tyler is a decoy. I think Tyler is a scapegoat. Zen is a decoy.
But it's just the purpose that it served is kind of irrelevant, dude.
No, it's not.
He still would have gotten, quote unquote away, had like 3 cops not throwing him in.
Okay, bro, let me tell you this whole thing very quick, okay? And please don't interrupt me. The cameras show you where the shooter was. We could have seen the video of him shooting. The FBI didn't release that. What they released is him running without a gun, just FYI. He never had a gun. The gun has always been in the forest. Tyler on the roof, if that's even Tyler, I don't even think it is. That guy on the roof isn't the shooter. Okay, so then there's Zim, who's an Ashkenazi Jew used as a decoy, just like he was in 9/11, just like he was later on with the bombing in 2013. The Jew. And then there's the security team of Kirk, run by a Jew, who have several drones, and they were unable to see anything worthy of an investigation. No one talks about it. Then there's Netanyahu claiming, before we get to Netanyahu, then there's the text between Tyler and his boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that is, clearly staged. Clearly, very clearly, like I don't believe that text for shit, and they don't even show the whole thing. Okay, I wonder why. And then there's the Netanyahu coming to you with an alleged letter without even showing it to you or any of that stuff, making it seem like what's his name? Kirk is a super big friend to Israel because he has been in the past, but we know in the past 2 months he hasn't. We know that. Okay, so you're coming with a fake letter, you're not even showing it, and you're making such statements. When we've seen him being threatened by, what's his name, this Bill Ackman guy, we've seen him be pressured and all of that stuff. And now you're saying we find that there's him saying what he's saying in that group, or chat group, whatever, that he's no longer going to be bullied by Israel and so on. I don't see how it doesn't make sense to you, because Israel is all over it in terms of the security team.
But they're all over him inherently. Look, just about everything you're saying, other than the Zen part.
So
that was my position like 2 weeks ago, and you were fighting me on it.
It's not just the Zen part, bro. There's Zen. There's the guy for the security team, Jews, and then there's Netanyahu.
Look, look, the Netanyahu thing is it's very. That's the thing that far more than the Zen guy.
Right.
That's what really makes me feel like,
offering him a trip to Israel.
Yeah, no.
We know what that means.
It's very bizarre.
But no, it's not very bizarre. Everything.
You know what I fucking mean. You know what I mean when I say that.
Every single thing points to Israel. Every single fucking thing points to Israel. It's just that simple. Israel is the only beneficiary. Israel is the only one with motive, and Israel is the only one with opportunity. Hey, I'm sorry. Motive, opportunity. And you're the only beneficiary, not just motive. No, you're the only one with motive. Okay, so, to my mind, it is very clear.
No, they're not the only one with the motive. No, that's not true.
Well, they're the only beneficiary.
That's also... look, if you... any group of... well, it depends on how the aftermath happens. Like, if you think it's something like prior going into it, if killing him somehow divides, the right wing or the far right somehow, then there's plenty of people that benefit.
Okay, bro, I'm not into hypotheticals. The result is benefiting. The only one benefiting is Israel. Who else benefited?
I don't look. There is an argument that Israel benefits. There's also an argument that they don't. So it depends on how you
No,
look at it.
how don't they benefit? And that's what the
Well,
question is: who else benefited?
I mean, I think it's too early to fucking tell, to be honest.
Bro, come on, man, come on.
I think it's too early to tell.
No, I think it's very clear.
Oh yeah, you think a lot of things are very clear, and then you flip flop on things.
No, I don't. It's pretty clear. But
You were literally arguing with me
I told you
a
my
week and a half
statement.
ago. What do you mean?
This
He's got a gun. It's in his bag. Blah blah blah.
no, I don't. It's not in his bag.
That's what you were arguing. It's that he's got a gun. It's
Bro, I didn't say that.
Hello?
I didn't say that. I said
you got unbanned.
it takes time for you to disassemble the gun.
This is what I was
The
saying.
Bitcoin room said you got banned.
Yeah, they did a room in my honor today.
Hey,
What
why
happened
did
to
you
your
get
account?
banned? He's in the room with you, then you just got
The moose has got me clipped.
I heard Rico was reporting you.
Yeah, Rico was in the room earlier. That's how I
He
found out.
told us to report you. I told him don't.
No, he didn't do this.
Shut the fuck up, David. You fucking sucking pig.
Anyway, Betas, follow me back so I can.
I hear you are going to Canada. Is that right?
Why?
nice.
Why did you tell him?
Oh, child. It's true.
Oh, well, shut the fuck up. Why did he tell me? What's wrong with you?
Why did you tell him, Randy? It was supposed to be you.
It's not me, it's Maria.
Yeah, but what's this?
No, I don't even talk to you. I didn't tell you anything.
Wait, David, you son of a bitch, wait. Warte. Wo ist dein Problem, wenn ich das weiß?
Nein, kein Deutsch jetzt. Die müssen alle verstanden.
She don't understand
Verstehen.
German.
Niggas.
Yeah, she don't understand German. It's fucked up.
I don't.
So was it, do you agree with the rabbi that it was Israel that killed Charlie?
It is literally just, how can you not understand what he says? He's asking you if you have a problem with him knowing.
Thank you,
Yes.
Rabbi.
No.
But that's not what you said. What you said is...
I said no German.
I know what you said, but
Yeah,
what
she don't understand, so yeah.
Ja,
Was
ich
aber
kein Deutsch, weil die alle verstehen sollen.
She sounds like a refugee.
No German.
I sound like a refugee.
That's funny.
But she is a refugee.
Das ist okay.
Never speak German again, please. Make us all a favor.
It's pretty interesting because my German comprehension is even better than French.
Yeah. Oui. Je m'appelle Rabbi.
Je ne sais pas.
Ne parle français.
First you put David.
Shouldn't be.
Tout suite.
Only good.
The only good that you know is your good.
Everything I know is good. Otherwise, I wouldn't know it. I only know goodness.
Isa, who killed Charlie Kirk?
Obviously, the Jews.
Oh my god.
See?
It's very obvious, bro. You guys are so dumb.
It's just so stupid.
It's so dumb, man.
Yeah, you are so dumb. It's very obvious that everything points to one direction.
Well, Lou doesn't agree with you.
I'm not convinced. We're still not even fucking certain how exactly he was killed, dude.
Yeah, because there's a decoy.
No, I'm talking about like which direction did it come from?
I know exactly which direction it came from. It came from like 4 o'clock. And his bitch is so wild.
Hey, you Jordanian shawarma eating faggot loser. Everything leads to Israel, huh? You are one pathetic, really pathetic, low IQ loser. What kind of a loser goes around and calls himself a rabbi? He's a Jordanian shawarma goat-looking faggot. And he's going to sit here and say,
بتاعي هنا في الغرب ولا
The original.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. She did that much, but she was like,
Okay, she's not that. She's not
no,
that
she's not that bad.
Not you thought we were joking. Like,
I'm sorry, AB. We not used to white. There's some system holding back, some shit like that. But it's fine.
Yeah, we don't talk about it because we want to preserve our relationships in real life.
Right.
For example,
That's
my
right.
oldest daughter during COVID, unfortunately, went to one of the best design schools in the world, not just in the United States, in the world. And she came back not with her full degree, but completely indoctrinated. I can't talk to her. I can't talk to her about Charlie Kirk. I can't talk to her about issues related to LGBTQ, or she lives in New York. She loves Mandami. She wants him to be. I can't tell her anything. I can't talk to her. She might not be my daughter anymore if she knew how I felt. That's terrifying. I love her.
oh,
That's why like, this is very personal for me. Like, that's what people just don't get. For some of us, it's very personal.
And there's so much fear there. Like, you love your child, and if they knew, like, they will make you a monster. They'll separate themselves from you,
And
because
she would
they're
try to
told
talk to her other siblings and try to get them to not talk to me either. And I'll be out here with 4 kids who don't talk to me.
And that
That's why you have to be quiet.
That story, you're not alone. Like, and then so you're lying by omission
Established.
to save a relationship, and they don't understand the dangers of communism. They don't understand that socialism ends in death. Like, it's marked in history, and people are ignoring it. What do? You love your kid. You don't want them not to talk to you ever. It's terrible. You're not alone, Pinko. You're not alone.
And I'm sorry, there's no, listen,
there's so many parents who didn't pay attention to what the public schools and the universities were teaching the children. Like, it's a betrayal of trust. Parents sent their kids to you so that they could have a good life, and instead you've made them angry, bitter, and afraid. How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, we spent, do you know how much the Fashion Institute of Technology in Manhattan costs? And to have my daughter come back and I don't even recognize her, and all she got was an AA degree and struggling, just living in New York, just believing that everything should be given to her, that I can't talk to her. I love this girl. I mean, oh, you guys, what they have done. They made it okay for kids to say, if you don't think the way I do, I don't care if you're my parent, my brother, sister, aunt, or uncle. I don't care if I grew up with you and we were best friends. I will abandon you. I will cease the relationship. I will block and delete you like you never existed. I don't get it. I don't. This is why I hate them. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I hate them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, but I hate what they do.
I definitely want to speak on this.
Yeah, real quickly, Stephen. I know you've been waiting to get in, but I'm going to say this real fast, too. Real fast. If people are not forget or not aware of the woman who killed her father at the beginning of the year when Trump got into office, he got elected, there's a white woman who killed her father to vote for Trump. People don't know that. That's political violence, too. She killed her father. You can look the story up. I think the night he got inaugurated. And it's shit like that, to your point, what you're saying, that you don't know how radicalized your family could be to where they do. Now, I think a lot of us don't believe that's the case, but why risk it? Because all the other shit that's on top plus that is like, it's just too much to consider. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, so I wanted to share my experience with some of my family. My mother and I share very different beliefs. Politically, also with religion, we share very different beliefs.
And our relationship has changed over time. And I'm glad to say it's actually a lot better now. And I think the biggest difference from where it was really bad and where it was really good, because now it's pretty decent. We're pretty good friends. And I love her and she loves me and we both want to see each other succeed, is how much we allow each other to accept other beliefs. I think that's an important thing, right? I think if I looked at my mom and I'm like, well, what my mom believes is wrong, well, that would instigate like a really defensive response, and then she would say, well, what you believe is wrong, and then I would, and I'm in the right, and blah blah blah, and then it becomes this fight, right? But if you like first start with like, hey, like, we have different beliefs, and I could totally be wrong, and I'm happy to share why I believe these things if you're interested. But if you're not interested, that's okay too. We can talk about a variety of other things that are, that celebrate our strengths. I think that a really important another really important piece of why our relationship got better is we looked to each other's strengths. And although I may not agree with my mom on, matters of politics or religion, on finances, she's an incredible, she has an incredibly strong perspective on things like building long-term relationships. She has a lot of strengths. And me diving into what I really respect and the parts of her that I really respect and really want to learn from. And she also does that with me. She looks to my strengths and she learns from me in the parts where I'm strong. That's really helped our relationship. So it's not always about what we disagree on. It's also about, hey, what is this person like inherently good at that I could like really learn from? And those have been some of the things that have improved my relationship with my mom a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've had to do. We talk about everything else but that. She will try to insert some things into the conversation, and I just be silent. It's the best thing for me to do. My thing is that, it's a little bit more complicated. I'm a content creator. There's things I want to say that and I know that if I say them, she probably won't ever talk to me. I hate being held hostage by the situation. And the fact that we live in a society where it's okay to cut people off for the littlest things, when I feel like right now we need people. Kids are so young and impressionable. She's an adult, but she's still really young. I hate the fact that we live in a society where it's being encouraged to abandon the very people who will be there for you if anything went down. I don't care what her political beliefs are. If she needs me, I'm there. And the fact that it's being encouraged for, children to separate from their family members because they disagree on politics, where are they supposed to go? It's not like people are making all these friends. Like, this isolates people and makes them more vulnerable for the government to control them. When you have your family is your first and last line of defense. And the fact that this is being encouraged, like, well, we'd all be okay without the support of people who love us regardless, that's my problem. And I only see one party doing that. And that is one of the 99 other things that makes me believe that they've become evil.
And what party is that, by the way, doing that?
The
The
left.
Democratic Party, particularly the Progressive Socialist Communist Party. That part.
Yeah, like when they on the View, they recommended people not spend the day of Thanksgiving with their family. if you voted for Trump, because of course the election was in November. So they were saying that, yeah, if you voted for Trump, don't spend time with your family. That was also a survey. I'm going to pull up a study too that said, it asked the question that if you, would you have, if you're liberal, would you have conservative friends? So asked people on the left, would they have conservative friends? They said no. That's people on the right, would they have liberal friends? They say yes, which is, it's black and white. The right has more tolerance in general, let alone for people on the left. The left has almost no tolerance, not just for the right, but even for their own fucking party. So if you're on the left, like Bill Maher, who's been outcasted, Joe Rogan, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, these people are still on the left, essentially. Yeah, they're with the Republican Party as far as being part of the administration, but they're still left-leaning. Amber Rose, the list goes on. We can go down a road of people, a slew of people who've been outcast or demonized because they have criticized their own party. And that party has no tolerance for dissent. You have to get down or lay down. It's pretty much gangster style over there.
Yeah, from my experience, the people on the left, yeah, I agree. Like they'll just cut you off completely if you disagree with them. But the people on the right, what I find very interesting is even though you guys might vote the same, or you might have the same religious views, if you disagree with something in the religious view, or if you disagree with something in the political party that you both vote for, they'll cut you off just as fast. And that's been my experience.
Hey, just to be clear, I'm not that it really matters, but I do lean socially left. I think it's important, or I guess the way I see it is that anyone that's leveraging indoctrination, whether it's left or right, I think that should be just sort of highlighted, right? And I think it would help both sides, no matter where you fall, to know how to identify indoctrination and to know when people are using indoctrination techniques versus what I think would be better alternatives for teaching.
So what are some of the indoctrination techniques that you see?
So
Curious.
I asked ChatGPT. I asked, how can you tell if you're being indoctrinated? Which I think is like a really important thing, right? Like I was like, how do you know, right? Like, and they said, okay, one is check the goal. If the goal is to give you tools to think, not what to think, and you're taught methods, ways to evaluate evidence, and competing views. With indoctrination, the goal is to make you adopt a specific conclusion or belief, often without showing you viable alternatives.
So which party do you think right now is doing that?
They both do to some degree.
Can you give us like an example of the left doing it, just so it can make more sense?
The left doing indoctrination technique. Oh well, I think saying.
How about trans women or women?
Sure. Yeah, that would be a great example. Their views towards the LGBTQIA community, they believe their opinions are right, and anyone that has different opinions than theirs would be wrong, right? That would be a indoctrination sign, right? And you'd see it on the right with nationalism, right? Anything that's if you should be fighting for the United States and the values of the United States, and if you're not, then you're against us, kind of thing.
Well, okay. Can you put it to a policy? So, like, I gave you the example of trans women are women. I can give you another example. White men are the most dangerous threat to America.
Okay.
Who says that?
Some members, it's important to identify that this isn't the entire left that does these things, and it's not the entire right that does these things. I think it's more important to look at the methods used for either side.
So yeah, maybe we should, I get where Pink Bill's going. There's a lot of frustration with us.
Of course.
We've seen what happens when people mispronoun people. And it's ugly. and we can try and find the opposite and equal from the right, coming from the right.
Mhm.
I think going back to what are the propaganda techniques that you just referenced earlier, like keeping it away from examples, I think that'll help the discourse better, even though I'm right there with you, Pink Pill, and I want to go toe to toe, and I want to say, you don't understand that a couple nights of Jimmy, whatever his name is, off of late night TV doesn't equate to the thousands of conservative, regular people who had their voices silenced on social media because the FBI and the government got involved with Twitter and started canceling people who had diversity of thought.
But see, here's the thing: you're calling people Nazis. You're calling people fascists.
Some are.
You're getting people killed, and it's like I don't see it on the other side. What I do see is people on the left who wanted to, who had like maybe agreed 97.3% with everything that the left was saying, any particular narrative on the left, and then being completely excommunicated. That's what I've seen. What I've seen on the right is, not perfect. I've experienced racist folks on the right, but for the most part, who I engage with, especially on X, it's like a diversity of thought. They're okay if you don't, and they're not calling you names. They may call you dumb or retarded or something like that, but that's like Gen Z talk. I mean, that's Gen X talk, right? I'm Gen X. We would call everybody retarded. Like, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when somebody tells me that you must believe this, and I don't want to hear anything else. If you deviate from this, you are a bad person, and you probably should die. We've got this guy, what's his name, Jay Jones, who's running in Virginia, who says that he would like his political opponent to have 2 bullets in his head and also get his kids killed because maybe he'll get his personal policies that he wants to get pushed through. I'm only seeing that on that side. I'm just not seeing it on the other side. I am willing to listen if there is something like that on the right that people are trying to push down.
Yeah, let's hear that.
I would really like to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
There's not one.
Is there a right equivalent?
Another
Sure,
one is there's a genocide in Palestine, and if you push back on that shit, oh my God, it's World War 3.
Sure, and I want to be clear. I think I agree with you in that. I agree with you in that those are terrible methods, right? Those are bad things to do, and they're hurtful methods. But I think it's much more important not to blame the left for the method, but to blame the method itself, because there are people in the right that use hurtful methods, and there are people on the left that use hurtful methods. They both, and I think it's more important to look at the method than the viewpoint. You asked for how the right. I asked ChatGPT how the political right. I asked for examples of both the right and left, how they indoctrinate people. First, the definition of indoctrination that I'm using is information control to limit or distort access to opposing viewpoints, emotional conditioning, attach moral or identity value to the agreement or disagreement, and social enforcement to reward conformity and to punish deviation. So how the right commonly addict.
Can you share that with me? Can you DM me that? That's sure. Awesome stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Stephen or Stefan?
It's Stephen. And so the way that the right does it is through moral absolutism, portrays the world in terms of good and evil, patriots versus traitors, believers versus sinners, suggests questioning tradition is equal to moral decay, and then uses nostalgia, aka a return to greatness, to create emotional safety in conformity. They use fear-based messaging emphasizing threats such as immigrants, crime, moral decline, globalists, etc. They use fear to justify authority or strong control. AKA, we must unite behind our leader, or we lose our country. Reverence for authority, including religious, military, or national symbols used to sanctify political loyalty. And dissent is framed as disrespect or betrayal rather than civic participation.
And can you maybe just give one example though? I know these are all the ways they do it, but give us like a real tangible example.
Yeah, I mean, I can put some tangible examples in the chat. I don't want to, I just asked ChatGPT for some broad overviews of how the right has used indoctrination in the past. Yeah, happy to put some direct examples in the chat. But this is something that's used by both sides. This is not just a right thing. This is not just a left thing. I think that if we find ways to communicate our ideas without indoctrination, I think that that's a much better way to go about it, no matter where you are on the political spectrum.
I agree with that. I agree that everybody should be able to identify how and if they are being indoctrinated in things. I'm going to be honest, Stephen, that I don't think that all indoctrination is wrong. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. I don't think that it's wrong to have children be indoctrinated that the country that they live in, they should be proud of, and that they should love the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I think that they should be loyal to their country. I think that that is indoctrination, and I think that that's good. I think that that protects us. So I don't think that all indoctrination is bad, but if the indoctrination is like antisocial or dangerous or leads to somebody being killed, I don't care either side. I only see the left with polls saying that 37% of progressive liberals think it's perfectly okay for political opponents to be killed. What I see on my X feed is people on the Republican side going to colleges and they're being attacked physically and having to defend themselves. I'm seeing on my scroll Antifa trying to defend criminals and keeping neighborhoods that people who look like me safe, while denying that the people who are being terrorized in these neighborhoods want some kind of safety. I just don't see the right saying, don't believe your lying eyes.
You know what?
And I'm not saying that that has never been the case, though.
You know what?
Because I've been alive long enough to know when the right side was utterly insane, which is why I feel like I'm in a parallel universe, because I'm looking at the right like, y'all were the Democrats when we were cool. What is happening here?
Hey, quick question, real quick, Stephen. What would you say? What indoctrination do you think is good for kids?
You know, I think indoctrination is really good for like early developmental childhood, when you're like saying, hey, you need to look both ways before crossing the street. I think when it comes to matters of life or death safety, understanding stop, drop, and roll, understanding things like when it's okay to pull a fire alarm. I think that is a great time to use indoctrination. I can't think of a single occasion where indoctrination would be good for later stage development and up. I think if you're above the age of 16, I can't think of a single situation where indoctrination is a good thing, because you're now you're able to think critically now. So I think using indoctrination techniques on adults is very powerful. It works. It's used because it works, and it's I don't think it's the most ethical way to
And why do you think it
convince
works?
people. That's a super deep. I don't.
I think it
people
can answer
people
this,
make decisions
Stephen.
based on fear. People make decisions based on anger. People make it goes to like more primal decision making and emotional decision making. That's my guess. That's what my intuition says. I haven't researched it though.
I think it's because children in at least the past 2 generations are not being taught that it's okay to push back on ideas that are being presented to them in the classroom and question. I think the critical thinking, the media, particularly the news, when I was growing up, I was born in 1973, I remember the news. They would tell you something and they trusted you enough to decide what you should think about it. So you have all of these influences that you have this discouraging of critical thought, which we talked about earlier. I don't know if you were in here. And then you have news media, which should have a responsibility for giving us the most accurate information humanly possible. I think that's what the founding fathers idealistically wanted. But instead, I had to check my own self because I remember back when I was a Democrat, when something would happen and I would be like, let me go on CNN so I know what to think about this. And I had to stop myself because I knew better. But I also have to think about the millions and millions of other people who don't know better. What do you guys think?
Let me ask you a question. Are you religious by any chance?
I was raised Baptist. I'm not religious. I am spiritual, but I don't. I'm not particularly like. I enjoy church, but I'm not sitting there clapping like a seal for everything they say.
So, Pink Pill, I've been listening to your political opinions, and it kind of matched mine. I don't think the conservatives are the answer, but I choose them over the type of Democratic Party that's around now. But the Democratic Party can easily be reformed, and one person I ran into is Ezra Klein. Hearing Ezra Klein speak, the first president I ever voted for is Donald Trump, but I want to vote Democrat eventually. And hearing Ezra Klein speak gives me hope for the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party still hasn't reformed yet. And I think the good thing about Trump's existence is that as long as the Democrats keep losing, I feel like it's going to give them more incentive to govern in more pragmatic ways. Because I think the issue is that they don't govern pragmatically. Their messaging isn't pragmatic. Nothing about everything for them is procedural and vibes and having like well-meaning values, but putting that on a forefront so much that it makes government inefficient. And then they'll create bills, section off money for bills that sound amazing. The End of Poverty Act, or I just learned these I've been asking the Biden people what Biden did that was positive, not as a way to like grill them, but as a, hey, I know my own echo chamber. Like I know that Obama wasn't all bad. I know Trump isn't all bad. There's no way Biden is all bad. They talk about the infrastructure bill. They talk about the CHIPS Act, and then I believe them. And then I started to do research. The infrastructure bill didn't change shit because all of the changes are so procedural that really a lot of construction doesn't start until 2028. So it's like, it's I just think that the Democrats need to rethink. And there's a few people in the Democratic Party who understand that they need to rethink. What's fucking up the Democratic Party are the people on the left, the leftists. the leftist who just screams over and over and over again that billionaires are bad and that race, like, and it's just like they don't have any policies to make the world better. They just critique everything and they don't have any solutions.
Hey, that politician that you like, I can't say, I forgot his name, but can you describe the policies he supports?
So Ezra Klein, if you just look up Ezra Klein and look at him talking about his book called Abundance.
Well, the ones that specifically that you like about him, just curious.
He isn't a politician. He's a reporter at the New York Times. And what I like about what he's saying is, I'm a pragmatist. I'm not I'm not a super partisan person. I will vote for Democrats if I believe that they're better. I will vote for Republican if I think, like, I'll vote for anybody.
He's just really you like him, but he's not telling you what he's standing on.
No, he's telling you what he's standing on. He works at the New York Times. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just name 2 or 3 of them. Just 2 or 3. That's it.
Yeah, so he is a New York Times bestseller. He's a reporter for the New York Times. So obviously he's a liberal. He's a liberal. He's a forever blue person, right? But he's a forever blue person that understands what the Democratic Party is doing wrong.
I get it. What you're doing, you're describing him as a pretty cool person. What I'm asking for is, has he put his neck out on the line for any particular issue?
Yes. So let me tell you what issue he talked about. So before the the 2024 presidential campaign, about 2.5 years before it even happened, he was criticizing the Democratic Party openly because he wanted them to have open primaries. He kept telling the Democratic Party that if you guys keep Joe Biden as a nominee, you're going to lose. If you wait too long, you're going to lose. So that was one. In terms of like him and the environment, he's also pretty big on the environment. He's what I know there's a buzzword, you call him a classical liberal. He's a moderate. To me, he's a moderate, pragmatic liberal.
I think, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I think the big issue is people vote for people who they just like, but they're not like very well informed of the actual policies and how those policies affect things. They're more like personality and character.
Yeah, but Ezra isn't a politician. So like if you're looking for an exact...
Trump wasn't a politician either, but when he stepped out, he made it very clear. He put a line in the sand and said, "Hey, this is what I'm supporting, and this is what I'm gonna do." Blah blah blah.
I'm not saying Ezra's name as a way to say this is the future of the Democratic Party. Hell no. I'm not saying that. Even though if he was, I would vote for him. I'm saying that I don't want to give up on the Democratic Party, or I don't want to fully just be like, okay, Republicans are the answer.
Bless you, Oni.
Because thank you. I don't want to just say Republicans are the answer because there's something emerging from the Democrats that is seeming a little bit self-aware, but they're not there yet,
I think the American Party is our only hope.
The what party?
Elon Musk's party, the American Party.
Yeah. That ain't gonna happen.
That's hilarious. Listen, real quick, I know some of you guys hopped in. I want to ask Steven. Steven, you still there?
Yes, yeah, I am.
Yeah, hey, a long time since we spoke to you. Good to see you. I don't even know if you remember, but I remember you.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, as far as the space, since you left Lenin, how did you take the reaction to Charlie Kirk's death from the left? Not just your specific view. Well, I can guess both. How did you view it, and how did you see your party doing it? Like, do you align with the general sentiment, or at least the sentiment of them celebrating? How did you view that?
My general view is that I celebrate the ability to speak freely about subjects that I personally disagree with. I prioritize freedom of speech over someone that disagrees with me in every instance. I think that's where freedom of speech matters. It matters when you disagree with it. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't need freedom of speech. I obviously think it's a tragedy that he was shot for his beliefs and for welcoming discourse and welcoming open communication between both sides, even if I disagree with a lot of his political beliefs. When I saw how I noticed that, at least from what I saw, the vast majority of left-leaning people agreed with me. And it seemed like anyone that had radical viewpoints around this, their voices were amplified, because I believe that would cause the most ratings, that would cause the most views, that would cause the most, the things that news media outlets are measured on. That's what would get the intended results for both sides.
I'm curious, Stephen, what you said there's a lot of things you disagree with Charlie Kirk on. Can you just maybe name one?
Well, before we
I'm not a
I
Christian,
want to
so
finish this
start,
really quickly.
we can start.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, really quickly. And you guys can do that. I just want to go down the road to your point. You said so. There's not a. Well, let me ask you, just to be clear. Do you feel there's a comparable stance between the right and the left when they view violence and how violence is enacted on their opponents?
I can't stress this enough. It really should never be looked at as a right versus left thing. It really shouldn't. It needs to be looked at as there's radicalism, and that radicalism needs to be addressed. It doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat or Islamic or Christian or atheist. It does not matter. What matters is radicalism, right?
Go ahead.
And putting blaming the left or blaming the right or blaming the fucking, it's not going to help anyone ever, right? It's just understanding how this process happened. You treat it like a plane crash, right? It's you don't, when a plane crashes, you don't look at was the pilot a Democrat or a Republican? No, it doesn't matter.
It's a very odd analogy.
Yeah,
that's a perfect analogy.
We might look to see how much training, how much confidence they have.
Now we're talking, right? We analyze the crash. We say, hey, how did we get here? How did we get here? What failed, right?
I agree with that part.
And we look at the process of how we went from we were on track to how did this plane get off track, and how did this plane crash? And now, once we understand how this plane crashed, how do we make it so future planes don't crash this way ever again? Right?
How do you account for pattern recognition?
Right.
We're not stupid. We understand that there's a pattern of violence in our nation, and to blame it all on white men is reductive and wrong. Statistically verifiable.
It should not be blamed on white men, for sure. But in the same way, we shouldn't look at it and say, well, Democrats are the problem, right? It's making the same mistake than saying white men.
It's not.
It is the same.
Let me get the reason why it's not. Here's the reason.
Some people.
Oh, 1 second. Wait.
You have to yield to the mods.
Yeah, the reason why it's a problem, because as you said, Stephen, it's not just isolated in an incident, which I agree, right? If car accidents happens, plane crash happens, violence happens. We're talking about the culture around the violence, right? So if a group support this particular thing, so I want to make an analogy, but I don't want to make this longer than it have to be. If a culture is supporting certain activity, then you do blame that group or culture for that. And right now, the leftists do tend to have a violent culture. It's not just isolated in this assassination, because as you stated, the question was, how did we get here? I believe a lot of us saw us getting here a long time ago when we saw one Trump being attempted to be assassinated several times, Brett Kavanaugh, the rise and whatnot. So there's a litany, and not just the things that are happening, but how people are treated. So when it's a response to say it's mostly peaceful, or you're undermining the actual violence, not reporting on it, etc., this creates a culture to where violence can prosper. can be more abundant. And now we have it escalating to the point where someone actually died, which someone could have died before, again, Trump and several other people. So what I'm saying is that the way we respond to this speaks more volumes than what happens, because we can't control individuals, but we can control how we treat this situation. And for one group to say that is okay and to call for more of it, I think that is indicative of that side. And lastly, I'll say on this, not enough of that side is checking their side to say we should do this, because when the Aryan Brotherhood or far right extremists or alt right does their things, there's a plenty of the right to say we don't own that shit, we don't condone violence or racism, etc. So I'm just saying that there's a clear distinction between the left and the right when it comes to this particular issue.
Yeah, but can I quickly say this? This is why I disagree with you, to be honest, because there's actually no evidence or proof that, even with the Charlie Kirk assassination, that it was actually a left-wing guy. Tyler.
We're not doing that. But
time out. Monica, time out. Let me just give my opinion, because this is a fact. There's actually no evidence.
It's not a fact.
Hold on, time out. If you're trying to provide me a fake text message that the FBI gave to the public to show that...
I'm not talking about that.
Tyler Robinson was not a left wing. His family was a conservative. They've been conservative.
His family, not him, sir. My family is Christian. I'm not. That doesn't make sense. And they're left wing, and I'm not.
But he's not left wing, and there was no proof that he hated.
Tasteless. You're ignoring the fact that other people can believe different things and it has nothing to do with their personal beliefs. That doesn't make sense. I share no beliefs of my family.
What's your evidence that he was left wing?
Because he killed a right-wing person. That's one thing.
He did say it on the bullet.
Yes, I was gonna name a litany of things. He had on a bullet Antifa, what's the word? Propaganda and shit.
Can I finger in the air, please?
There's no proof that
can we just ignore? Can we just sidestep the conversation? Because if a person needs to be convinced that the mainstream information suggests that the shooter is left wing and not right wing, then they're not in a place to be convinced. If you need to be convinced at this point in time that there's ample evidence that shows that this person was left wing, then why even talk to them?
It's hopeless at that point.
Yeah, I agree. But back to you, Stephen. If you took in what I said, and I'm really curious. And by the way, too, this you should know me. I'm not trying to bully you or nothing like that. If you don't feel comfortable with this stuff, let me know.
I don't feel bullied at all.
Okay, cool. So I just want to be sincerely. Yeah, but go ahead if you want to respond to what I said, please.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a broken record. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think we improve as a country when we attack the wrongdoings, right? And we degrade as a country when we look at a problem and we say it's the left or it's the right or it's the blacks or it's the whites or it's the men or it's the women or it's the Christians or it's the atheists. I think our country gets a little bit worse when we do that, and it gets a little bit better when we say, hey,
let me cut you off here. Let me ask you something. But what if that is the case, though? What if that is the case, that this group is so let me ask you then, the next question is, how did we get here to where not that what happened, but that the side that it happened on, well, the side because he's left leaning, well, how did that side appropriate it? Like the right didn't celebrate it. Like the right did not celebrate Charlie Kirk getting shot, and even the alt-right or far-right people did not celebrate it. There was a specific demographic. You always say you don't think the left celebrated Charlie Kirk's getting killed?
No, I don't.
Really?
I really don't. And I think that it's very easy to take a very, very, very small minority and say this is what the left is saying.
But you could do that with the right. Is the point? You can do that with the right.
You can do that with any side. You can do that with any
race. You could not do that with the right. You cannot do that with the right. And I'm not trying to. I'm telling you the reason why you don't see it on the right, because it almost doesn't exist at all. Like when that lady in Minnesota, the congressman or whatever, got assassinated, we didn't celebrate that. And the lies they keep saying about Trayvon Martin and George Floyd, the people are not making fun of them because they died. They made fun of them in abundance. They made fun of them because the left was propping them up as like these good, outstanding citizens, which is still wrong. But it's not. It's not.
Wait a minute.
I'm not making that accusation.
I feel like you're like I got the right to vote when I turned 18 in 2016, and the first person I voted for is Donald J. Trump. Oh, my country. I love my country. You know what I'm saying? What? I'm just saying I think you're being a little bit unfair right now, Free. Like, you can't say, hey, we did it too, but when we did it, it was for these reasons, and it's not the same.
No.
Like,
For the people, actually, no. The point I'm making is for the people he's talking about, that actually happens right is a fringe minority that does it. The right doesn't stand by people making fun of George Floyd or dead people in general. And when they do it, it's not for the same reason. Making fun of someone that is dead and making fun of someone because they died is two different things. That's not the same.
Yeah, I know, but the right has done it. I think both. So this is my thing. I completely agree with Stefan. What he's saying is completely correct. And it seems like what we care more about is finding a perpetrator.
No, I care more about fixing a problem. No. That is the solution. The solution is to check your people, sir. Check your side. Your side is getting out of hand, and they are calling for more of this. And you're saying it's fringe, but it's not. Today, people she was just in here. A guy named Jay Jones just called for the assassination of his political opponent. He's a politician.
Yeah,
this is insane.
And listen, in another parallel universe, he would have been booted off the ticket. They're still supporting him. This is in Virginia.
And we have too many examples of this, and you guys are ignoring this. Yeah, you guys are doing. This is what we're saying. This is the problem, and I'm sorry for being, emotionally around about it. But the point is, we have too many examples for you guys just to knock it off and say, "Well, just a fringe." No, it's not. This has become normal amongst the left. This is the left now. This is where we are, and it's getting worse. And I'm saying you have to start pretty much checking your side, because we're trying to do it, but they won't listen to us. Check your side to say, hey, this is too far. And my question is, how far is too far? How many of the left have to do this before we say, hey, that's the left? How many more? What percentage?
Actually, I brought up Ezra Klein. The way that I rediscovered Ezra Klein from last year is Ezra Klein was having a debate with Ta-Nehisi Coates. And Ezra Klein, the Forever Blue Democrat, wrote an article 12 hours after Charlie Kirk's death saying that Charlie Kirk did politics right, and his politics and his death was a tragedy, and it's bad for every single American that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was for look up Ezra Klein on YouTube, Charlie Kirk article. Every single person on his side,
the left,
every single person, I mean just the loudest people, are hanging him upside down and hitting him.
Are they leftists?
What do you mean? Some of them are leftists. Some of them aren't. A lot of them.
No. See, again, you're being dishonest. What people on the right or indifferent are hanging him? Because you know it's the left.
I'm saying that there are Democrats who are calling out the thing that happened with Charlie Kirk.
No, I get that. That's not the issue. We know that's happening. We know it's just not happening enough. We get it. I know that Democrats don't allow that. I think you're changing the discussion now.
I'm saying the people who think that, which I think it's a silent. You know what a silent majority is?
I know what you're saying. Yes, we get it. No, I get it. I know most people are. Listen, I said most leftists have an issue with him. Yeah, most leftists probably agree with Stefan and a lot of us. The problem is there's a growing minority. I said most. If that's what you're saying.
Because there's a difference between a leftist and a Democrat.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Most Democrats. When I say left, I'm talking all of the left. So that's everybody. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying too. Yeah, I'm saying there's a growing minority that is a problem, and they're getting out of hand, and it's keep growing. But go ahead.
Okay. This comes from my question of how can you tell if you're being indoctrinated? And number 7 is look for black and white worldviews. Are you taught that everything is clear cut, aka we're good and they're bad? I think that exact thing is Free is doing right now.
You think I'm saying I'm talking about a specific issue, sir. I'm not. This is relegated to one specific issue. That one side is okay with political violence more than the other. It's not saying that we don't have any issues. It's not saying you guys are 100% wrong. I'm saying on this particular issue, and I believe that this changed the conversation to make it more dishonest. I don't think you're trying to do that on purpose. This is not a fallacy here. Where I'm trying to say this is a black and white issue. Right now, we have too much of something, enough evidence for what I'm claiming that too much of your side is okay with this. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how you disagree with that.
I'm not.
You just said you're a leftist socialist, right? You said that.
I'm registered as I'm an independent. Okay, to be
okay.
And also,
regardless of what you're registered in, you identified as
conservative. There are things that I totally agree with on the right, and things I totally agree with on the left.
I'll take back your side. Let's just say left.
On social issues, I'm probably more left than I am right. But
okay, that's fine.
For instance, I don't believe that women or trans people should be in sports. I don't think that, or should be in women's sports. I don't believe that should be a thing.
Okay, fair enough. I got you. I said I take it back because I don't want to get lost in the sauce. I want to stick to this. We see one group performing a certain way, and they are emboldened to do so. They're not shameful. They don't care. They're doubling down on this idea, and worse than that, they're trying to justify by misrepresenting his arguments by saying that he said black people are not competent and all this other crap they claim he said, which he didn't say, or he at least said it way out of context, which is not the same thing. Meaning, they misrepresent him. The point is that I'm addressing the fact that the left, as this poll showed that Pink Pill addressed a second ago, which you can look it up, I think it's like 38% of the left think it's okay to assassinate your political opponent. And we see tons of incidents of the left doing things like this. There's people being hunted down and killed because they're Trump supporters, okay? Hunted down, literally. When you go to rallies, and I tell the left to do this too, anybody, matter of fact, not even left, anybody. If you really want to test this theory, just go to any of those spaces where there's a ICE rally or something, and whatever. Matter of fact, let me take all that back. Take it all back because that's too dangerous. Let me just say this: for the fact the majority of us who supported Trump and voted for him, we can't go out in public wearing anything that shows that we're conservative or right-leaning. We can't wear a MAGA hat. We can't wear what's the elephant. We can't do none of that shit. The reason being because there's a chance that our car gets
We can't even hold the flag. We can't even have a flag.
Yeah, we can't even hold American flag. Yeah, and so that speaks volumes to know that this is a identifier to be attacked. Okay, I drive around and I see people with their Tim Moss and their Biden shirts, Biden stickers on their car, and they do it comfortably because they're not facing the same threat as the people on the right. This is, how many examples we have to give that one side is more okay with promoting violence, performing violence than the other side. So you're gaslighting me by saying this is not the case. Go ahead. Yeah, no, it's a lot. I'm right here. Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to speak after you, Stephen. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go on mute too. Go ahead. Yeah, no.
This is so important. What I'm gonna say, I believe to my core. Okay. That assigning a trait to a group is wrong. Okay. And assigning it to the entire group is wrong. It is. I believe that is the definition of prejudice, is to assign a trait to an entire group of people. I think it is wrong to look at the incarceration rate of black people and to say, well, black people are obviously the problem. That it's wrong to believe that. You need to look at the crimes that individuals committed and say, it was wrong for that individual to commit that crime. It is wrong to make the conclusion that because more black people are disproportionately incarcerated for crimes, that black people are the problem. That is a wrong thing. It's not right. That is where racism comes from. You have to judge each individual on the content of their character and not look at what group they're a part of and make assumptions about that group.
Let me ask you this. How do you assess and measure crime statistics by categories? How do you do that then?
I thought Monica was next.
Okay, so if there's a bank, and I'm going to be ridiculous with this, but I think it's good to add a little levity to this conversation because it's a difficult conversation. A bank is robbed. The description of the perpetrators are 4-foot, red-headed, green-wearing men. When the police put an all-points bulletin out for 4-foot, red-headed, green-wearing men, they will not be stopping any 6-foot Black Americans. They won't, because the suspect doesn't match the description. There's a difference between racial profiling and profiling. And if we look at the data, we can have a conversation that our judicial system is broken. We can have a conversation that approximately 6% of the men or the people currently incarcerated are not guilty for the crime that they're incarcerated for. And look at P. Diddy. But what we shouldn't do is ignore facts and data because we're afraid that we'll be labeled a bigot. If there's a problem in a culture, denying that culture has a problem is not doing any of us any favors. Go ahead, Mother.
Yeah, so it was interesting because, I mean, when we talk about the U.S. justice system, I mean, essentially it's a class-based system, right? People with better access to better attorneys generally can get off on lesser charges. And nobody talks about, like, that is a huge part of the rates of who gets sent to prison and who doesn't. We just like to gloss over that fact and pretend like our system is fair and balanced, and how people of color generally get harsher sentences than white people that commit the same crimes. Like, that is well known and well documented. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But what I actually wanted to say was back up real quick. I was surprised, like, when you all talk about, like, you can't wear your MAGA hats and you can't. Like, I walk down the street every day and there's people wearing MAGA hats and flying Trump flags. Like, maybe it's because I live in Florida, which is a very Republican state, but nope, they're not getting assaulted. Literally, people at my gym are wearing MAGA hats and wearing pro-Trump stuff, and people were wearing their Kamala stuff. Like, I don't know where y'all live, but most of the country is not like this, where you can't,
California,
state your opinion on things. Okay, that makes sense. I live in California. The rest of the country is not like this. Like, it is not. Even when I was in Illinois, people would wear the Republican stuff and they're not getting jumped. Like, what are we talking about?
In Maryland and D.C., you should not wear any MAGA attire.
Right. So clearly we have examples
Hey guys, just a programming note, just a moderator's note. This is Serendipity's room, and AD and I help her. We have some guidelines for the mods. If you move down anyone, you need to tell us, and please don't remove anyone, because I don't know what happened in the chat, and I would have looked forward to hearing what had happened. So, we tolerate diversity of thought here, even if it's ugly. Now, if it's credible threats of harm, that's a Clubhouse issue. You can feel free to, on your own, report anybody. But Serendipity went off mute. She might have an additional programming note. Thank you.
It got removed.
I was going to ask, I know somebody earlier got removed, a person named Soul, but I didn't remove them. They did something, I didn't catch it, but they removed before I could catch it. So that's Steve.
I told you, Soul's good.
Oh, you did? Okay, gotcha, okay. Yeah, so I'm bent on this because I think this is one of those things, kind of like the trans issue, where it's like this elephant in the room. Certain things are what they are. The question becomes, how do you deem a group to be a thing, whether they be a peaceful group, a violent group, a charitable group, etc. And Stephen, to you, would you consider, let's say, I don't know, the Bloods and Crips a violent gang?
Yes.
Okay. Why would you consider them a violent gang?
Because when we interview murderers, many of them contribute their actions to the works of that gang.
Okay, fair enough. So if we have plenty of interviews with people on any group supporting violence and calling for it, would it be fair to call that those people violent in the group they're affiliated with? Especially if they're doing it for athletically.
Usually asks them to kill.
Oh, you didn't say that for the Bloods and Crips. Like they may not necessarily call anybody to do some things. They may do it on behalf of the gang. I'm pretty sure they do, but even if they didn't, they would still be considered violent, right? Because the gang could still do that regardless of it being called. So if you disrespect, that's not true. You don't think? So if I disrespect the Blood, you don't think he would kill me, regardless of the gang calling for it?
Free. If you're part of anything and you get angry at somebody, you kill them. It's not, it's not the fault of whatever thing that you're a part of,
I agree. Yeah.
If that thing is telling you better do this or we'll kill your family, that as in gang violence, this is a thing that's done.
Right.
It's a different story, right? So I'm putting it.
makes it the same is that they're doing violence because they support and think violence is a reasonable option to get their agenda across. That's the commonality between the gangs and the left, especially in recent history. The left is saying that violence is an option, and we're willing to use it to get our political point across. That's what they're saying. Ponchanoxy is a thing on the left. That's violence.
The left is not saying that.
The left is literally saying that.
There are
Not only, okay,
members.
we gotta be impeccable with our speech, and we probably should open up the stage. There's a lot of voices that we haven't heard from in a while. Like Daffy, I know, is chomping at the bit. I see you, Daffy. I see you.
Can I go after that?
And then, so I don't really want to set up a cue, Mother, but probably, but let me just get this out. We have the data that people are very comfortable openly saying in a survey, yeah, I think political violence is okay sometimes. And that message is coming from the left. A very small, if any part of it is coming from the right. Jordan Peterson had a fantastic question. When we know when the right goes too far. The right goes too far when it's looking for a white ethno-nationalist state. That's too far. That's racist. We don't like that. When does the left go too far? Stephen, can you point it out and tell us, aside from the transgender stuff?
Yeah, I think their budgetary spending goes too far. I think they're.
I'm talking about political violence.
I think let Daffy go. Daffy's
okay.
Good job there.
So you can't blame all leftists for what some leftists do. However, you can blame all leftists if they pay money for the violence. So I just posted a link of the college that Barron Trump goes to. It's a prestigious college called NYU. And there was a professor there who said that there's a moral imperative for students to set up death camps and genocide all white people. And Barron wasn't in the class, but this is a professor, and so most people said, hey, the leftists, they'll come to their senses, they'll fire this guy. But actually, instead of getting fired, he was promoted for demanding white genocide. Now, people in Clubhouse sometimes accuse me of exaggerating, but you can read the link for yourself. I think that a lot of leftists don't want a genocide, but they like making conservatives afraid, right? So when leftists are in their privacy, they fantasize about making right-wing people. And I think the leftists are happy when right-wingers are afraid of leftist violence. And I think the same thing, and I'll land my plane here, as we know, leftists have flooded the West with rapey, violent migrants. And in the UK, one of those migrants murdered 2 people at a synagogue in Manchester. Now, it's very interesting, right? You can't blame all the leftist community for that murder in Manchester, but what's going on that's really interesting is leftists are celebrating all over. So you can find hundreds of thousands of leftists and migrants celebrating that murder. So when our leftist friends in the room say not all leftists are killers, that's totally true. Not all leftists have the courage of their convictions, but what we can see through them celebrating murder and calling for murder and promoting murder and paying for people that demand murder and letting murderers out of prison quickly is leftists are cheering on the murder. Leftists are happy to see the murder, even though the leftists are too scared to commit the murder them.
So I'm going to get this, let me just get this out before people get pissed off at me. So here's my position, right? I think America in general is just a violent nation. Like, I think y'all are trying to pin it on the left or pin it on the right. This country is notorious for violence through the history of our country, right? This has been a problem for generations in this country of political violence. People get shot to death while they're in elected office. So maybe this is just part of the culture of this country. Like, people are just violent. Americans are just violent creatures, and that's okay.
No, it's not okay to be violent, especially politically, because this country was supposed to be founded with freedom of ideas. People who had dreams that we could say what we wanted to say without the thing that you're saying. It should just be okay to happen. Like, the fact that you could just say, well, that's just how we are, means that you have abandoned everything that the people who wanted this country to exist believed it. And you're not on my side if that's what you believe. And that's the point I'm making.
I don't know how to respond to that, so I'll just go ahead. Go ahead. No. I've spoken more than you have.
No, I just didn't really have a good I wasn't trying to make you my enemy, ma'am, but that's all I had.
No, because if you just say that what you did was dismiss something that is profound, when you start assassinating political figures, you make people afraid to speak, and you're just saying, well, we just need to say it's okay to say that America is violent. I don't think that's acceptable.
No,
and you shouldn't either.
That was
but
not
I can't tell you what to do.
So that was not my. So my position is that this country had what this conversation is going on right now is we're trying to say the left is much more aggressive and violent than the right, and they are doing all these horrendous things and propagating additional violence. And my position is that this country has a very long history of political violence, and that it is not any different than what it has been over the last couple centuries. I'm not saying I'm a fan of political violence or that I want it to continue or that, we shouldn't fix it. But what I'm saying is that what is going on right now is not inconsistent with what America's standard operating process is. So I don't get what the whole play is.
Wait a second.
I think.
Yeah, that's insane.
Well, I think what you just said made it worse because I think your initial statement wasn't even really that bad. But I think that violence is actually a form of politics. It's just not a form of politics that is sustainable for a civilized society, not the type of society that we're used to. And I think that there's certain elements that want some type of modern civil war. And you even hear it on this app. Some people want to watch the world burn. And when I listen to them, they never talk about winning. They just talk about revenge. And I feel like they use their politics as a fucking emotional, a stress ball. It's just this thing to get revenge with. And it's dude, you're gonna destroy shit. It's sad, and I think that the vast majority of Americans don't want political violence. But political violence is a reoccurring theme. I think that in our contemporary time, what happened to Charlie Kirk is an escalation of political violence we haven't seen. It's one thing for a person who works in government to be assassinated. It's another thing for a person who doesn't work in government but is politically adjacent to be assassinated. Now, the fact that we can even say he was assassinated and he didn't even work in government is a big deal to me. So this isn't good for either side. I don't think it makes anyone afraid. I think it makes people angry, and it makes people want to look for somebody to blame. And this is only going to make the tribalism, the factionalism, every single thing that the founding fathers wanted to prevent in the United States is going to exacerbate it even more.
I think there's just quick. There's a difference between